It is that time of year again. We've got Jerome Powell and the committee at Jackson Hole. Will this be another event where he rips up his speech and creates a 5-minute talk track that says there will be pain? Or will Jerome Powell finally relent and be open to the idea of rate cuts? Folks, this speech on Friday will be game-changing. I could tell you last week the bet was that rate cuts would be coming. But as we get closer, those odds are shrinking. Last time I checked, 82% of a cut, 18% do nothing. And frankly, it's getting worse by the day. So let's talk with Taylor from Life Goal Investments and figure out if he's looking forward to Jackson Hole. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Oh, you got to be looking forward to this. This is like a Super Bowl for us. Every year, Jackson Hole seems to come with a pivotal time in the market. Last year, it was coming right off the heels of that Japanese yen carry trade that just no one even knew what it meant going into it for the most part. And then all of a sudden it whacked the market. This one comes on the heels of what was a disgusting labor print and a more disgusting revision downward for the prior 2 months. And then we get some CPI data that comes in line. And then we get producer price that comes in way higher. And so all of a sudden now you have this backdrop of the economy seems to be slowing from a job hiring perspective. So not good on that side. That side says cut rates. And on the other side, you have just the nagging imbalance of what are tariffs actually going to do to inflation. And, you know, Powell for a long time has been speaking about, we are really confident, these are his words, that inflation is going to be pressed higher throughout the summer by these tariffs. And now it seems to be coming to fruition a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to talk about inflation in the second video we do together. And I think most people, including Powell, I don't want to say Powell's missing it. He's at least not talking about it, which I think is a bigger risk. So we'll save inflation for number 2. But I think Jackson Hole you're absolutely right. I think it's pivotal. The market is hungry for Powell specifically to be open to the idea of a cut. Just open. Like if he cracks the window a little bit, that will be game changing. But I'm not convinced he will, right? Again, he's only one voting member. He's an important one, no doubt. We've obviously heard, I would argue there's 4 doves kind of on the Fed now. There's obviously the 2 that dissented. I think there's 2 more that are open to a September cut pretty clearly. But that's only 4, right? And you need to get 7. You need to get 7 votes to get a rate cut. So I think Friday Friday might be Powell's most important speech. And that includes the one where he said pain was coming. This one's important.
Yeah. Does that include transitory from a few years back?
That's what, let's be clear. That's what he's trying to kill. That's what he's trying to avoid on his resume, being the transitory guy. Right. Exactly. He's trying to maintain. Yeah. Go ahead.
And he's getting this brutal political pressure, right? Not seen since Nixon was lambasting the Fed chair at that given time, Arthur Burns, right? And what it caused Arthur Burns to do was to cut rates relatively impulsively, it seemed at the time, in hindsight. And then all of a sudden you had this exacerbation of interest rates or of inflation that just started to take off in the mid-70s. And so, Powell has that right in his front, in front of him that he's thinking about at all times. I think that the market is due for a reprieve in a fairly meaningful way if he does officially slam the door on interest rate cuts, because that is the thing that is hanging and the carrot on the stick that the market seems to be chasing right now.
Yeah, the market is certainly salivating. I think the market is doing all it can to kind of do its own thing, its own pressure to get a cut. But we're seeing those odds quickly reverse, right? There was a time last week, Thursday, pre-PPI, might have been Wednesday, pre-PPI, where there was 100% chance of a cut and there was a 6% chance of a 50, right? Yeah. So, that is quickly reversed to 18% do nothing.
Yeah.
It's so let's talk about it. Cause again, the other thing I think about, so first off, I think you're right. Powell knows he has a short tenure left, right? And he's looking at that May date going, all I got to do is get to May. And the last thing he wants to do is pull an Arthur Burns, right? Because you're absolutely right. The worst recession America had before the GFC was the second part of that double dip recession in 81-82, which everybody argues Arthur Burns caused and Paul Volcker killed. But you don't want that. You don't want that back-to-back recession. I mean, I was a kid in the 80s and that sucked. I mean, my old man was unemployed for like 11 months or something crazy. He was, doing today what we would call manual labor, at a Home Depot, just trying to get work to feed his family. We don't want that.
11 months feels like a decade when you're in that scenario.
Yeah, when you got 2 kids at home and a wife. Yeah, it was, mom was babysitting on this. I mean, it was horrible, right? And we're kind of looking at that situation, but I go back to jobs or inflation because that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Powell has clearly said he has nearly no faith in the government numbers.
Yep.
So I cannot believe he's looking at the job market and thinks it is as strong as he did it the last time they did the dot plot. I think enough has changed.
I think he has made it evident, especially more recently, that he is more focused on inflation, right? And you think about just the context and the fundamentals behind everything. Inflation impacts 100% of the U.S. population. Everybody is impacted by inflation. Whereas the jobs market, right now we have 4%, 4.5% unemployment, right? So that's affecting, 1/20th of people. So if you're looking at, hey, do I have that go from 1/20th to, 6% and have another 2% unemployed that feel, now that's the ultimate misery. That is different. The pain we all feel by inflation moving higher incrementally, but nonetheless, it's impacting 6% versus impacting 100%.
Well, that's interesting because I would have said the complete opposite, right? If you put a gun to my head and said, what's the Fed going to choose? And by the Fed, I mean Powell, labor or inflation. Again, I would have said before this that he's focused on labor first, right? It's always tough to have a dual mandate. There's never really a dual mandate. One's always more important. And I would argue jobs is more important. But what you're saying is no, he's most focused on inflation because I think you're right. Again, he's looking at the history books, right? He knows, he just doesn't know how that last chapter of his story is going to be written. And he does not want to let inflation go. I do think that's true. But when I look at all the data, I just can't, he can't look at what's going on in the job market and thinks it's nearly as strong as he thought it was. Again, given the drop in, I'm forgetting what it's called, but there's unemployment and then there's
underemployment or
underemployed and all of that stuff. So it's bad out there. And I think unemployment could easily be 5 or 5.2 if you were to kind of recalculate it. And, the Fed was only expecting 4.4 for the year.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think what's becoming more and more clear right now is that the market is staring through the most recent data prints that we got on employment and saying, we don't know how accurate these are, right? So for a 3-month rolling average right now, we're at something like 30,000 jobs added.
Yeah, and that includes the 75. Here's a question for you. So the 75 came out, which you said in the opening was horrible, but the 2 previous months were downgraded, 250. I think there's a chance that 75 goes negative in the next revision.
There certainly. I think this is the golfer standing over the ball right now, knowing that he has a 2-way miss. That we don't. That's how bad the data is. It's not like this is just could come in under, right? It could come in over, right? And now we do all this rejiggering with the BLS, and clearly what Trump wants to see is numbers come in over. So they definitely could start looking at this data. And again, I don't think anyone has the malicious nature to misinterpret the data. I do think that our data,
it's imputed in a survey. Right now, it's bad. The process is
it's
the
terrible.
process.
It's terrible. There's no doubt there. But there is this political grandeur out there that, hey, this is politically driven, et cetera, and they're naturally trying to beat up Trump versus they were trying to inflate the numbers and Powell under Biden. Like I don't think that's there. I think it's just a broken system. And so now, if there is a broken system, there's gray area, and we can,
Yeah, I met some of these. So I interacted with some of these folks over a decade ago, and at least at that time, things could have changed. They're absolutely not political in nature. These are Excel monkeys that are they're excited by formulas and all of these things. That's where they geek out on the data. It's absolutely a broken process. You know, the fact that they do surveys versus mobile, there's no AI. It's just, and there's so much imputed, which you could say guess, right?
Yeah.
That it's just broken. It needs to be completely overhauled. But okay, so let's get to Jackson Hole. Let's get to Powell in front of the microphone. Let's assume it's a structured speech, 20, 25 minutes. At the end of it, do you think Powell shuts the door on a September rate cut as hard as he can, or do you think he opens to the possibility?
I don't think he does, because I think there's two still prints coming on, one inflation and one unemployment or employment data. I don't think he can afford to say, nope, that's not happening, because the market's going to react massively to what he says. And if all of a sudden he goes from this staunch, hey, we're going to be higher for longer camp to, and then the data prints come in weak, or unemployment comes in weak and inflation comes in hotter, whatever, or lower, you don't know what's going to happen there. So I think he needs to leave the door open for data. And his favorite thing on the planet to say is data dependent, data dependent. I don't think that's changing.
So if I were to summarize what you said, so he's in my words, he's going to leave the door open to a cut, basically not slamming it shut. Because I'll tell you this right now, I think it's 50-50. I think he could be so focused on not letting inflation rear its head. He has enough data inside that PPI report, which we'll talk about in number 2 video today, that he could just point at that as a problem. And then on top of that, tariffs, and on top of that, deportations. And there's all these things he could point at very clearly and say September's too soon. I do think he says we're open to the idea of cuts this year. Absolutely. But I do think there's a chance he comes out and says, guys, you're not listening. You're not listening. September's not going to happen. Yep. He could say that.
The market won't react well if he says that.
No,
let me be clear. I'm not in disagreement with you. There is the case for that, and there is certainly the chance that he does that. If he wants to draw a line in the sand, he certainly may. I just think the unknown outstanding prints, when the data right now is so damn volatile, that I don't think he can afford to do so.
Alrighty, folks, let us know in the comments below. What do you think Powell will do? Do you think he will be staunch, create that line in the sand, saying no September cut, but maybe something in 25? Or will he be more open and say, you know what? Maybe we'll do something in September. Taylor, where can people find you?
Yeah, find us at Life Goal Investments. We're on Instagram and on TikTok.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
Thank you.